Welcome to Lingua Wire English B1. Today, we have two stories: drug gangs in Ecuador and an urgent inquiry into elephant deaths in Kenya. To help you follow today's episode, full transcripts and vocabulary lookups are available at linguawire.com. In Ecuador, police are moving into areas controlled by drug gangs, while also worrying about corruption inside the state. The latest images show officers searching an abandoned house for hidden weapons. Owen, our Lingua Wire correspondent for justice, is with us now.
Yes, the scene makes the danger very clear. Police Captain Jean Carlos Bustamante says he fights criminals on the street and people in his own system.
That is a grim picture. What did he say about that problem?
He said, "We have many bad people inside our unit, inside the state, inside politics." He also said some of them are in the pay of the gangs.
So the threat is bigger than one gang. It is about trust in the whole system.
Exactly. He says the only officers he can trust are the ones beside him on his small hand-picked team.
And where were they operating?
They were moving through Duran, a city that he describes as full of drugs and rival gangs. The area is controlled by a group called Los Aguilas, which means the Eagles.
What happens if local people speak out?
Bustamante says the gangs kill him. That fear is why, in his words, people never say nothing.
That is a very direct line. It shows how silence can become a form of survival.
Yes, and that silence helps gangs keep control. In the latest raid, the team went to an abandoned house where Bustamante thought weapons were hidden.
So this was not just a patrol. It was a search for evidence.
Right. The officers lined up tightly against a wall, heavily armed, and a battering ram broke the door open. Inside, they found 2 handguns, and one of them was rusty, while the other was ready to be fired. They also found ammunition for an assault rifle.
That sounds like a small recovery, but it still matters.
It does, because every weapon they remove is one less tool for street violence. The story also shows policing's limits. When corruption is deep, even brave officers must work carefully.
Now to Kenya, where officials have launched an urgent inquiry into the deaths of 14 elephants near Amboseli National Park. Grace, our Lingua Wire correspondent for environment, is here.
Yes, and the number is worrying because it is the highest elephant death count here in decades. The Kenya Wildlife Service says experts are examining the carcasses.
14 elephants is a shocking number. What are investigators looking for?
They have sent tissue samples to laboratories. They want to find out whether the deaths were caused by disease, poisoning, or some other factor.
So at this stage, nobody is saying they know the cause.
That is right. The Wildlife Service says there is currently no evidence pointing to a single cause of death. Officials also say this is the first time in decades that deaths on this scale have been recorded here.
That makes the case feel even more serious.
It does, especially because the area has seen success against poaching in recent years. So this is not just an old problem coming back in the same form.
Where were the animals found?
According to local media, the bodies were found in different places around the national park. Some were about 15 kilometres from the park boundary, and some were about 30 kilometres away.
And were they all from the same group?
No, and that detail is important. The carcasses include elephants of different ages and sexes. This suggests the deaths were not limited to one family or one kind.
That sounds like it makes the investigation harder, not easier.
Yes, because it leaves investigators with several possible paths. They have to check disease, poisons, the environment, and any human activity in the area.
The background number here is also striking.
It is. Figures from the Amboseli Trust for Elephants say there were more than 2,000 elephants in the ecosystem as of 2025. That means this is not only about 14 deaths, it is about protecting a large and important population.
So the inquiry is urgent, not just for the park, but for the wider wildlife system around it.
Exactly. The next step is to test the samples and see whether the evidence points to one cause or more than one.
First, 3 words from the Ecuador story. The first word is the noun corruption. Corruption means dishonest or illegal behaviour by people in power. In the story, the captain said corruption was inside the state and inside politics. Example: the investigation found corruption in the local office. The second word is the noun gang. A gang is a group of criminals who work together. In the story, the police were fighting gangs in Duran. Example: the police arrested 3 members of a gang. The third word is the noun ammunition. Ammunition means bullets and other things used in a gun. In the story, officers found ammunition for an assault rifle. Example: the soldiers carried ammunition in heavy bags. Now the grammar point, in the pay of. We use this phrase when someone is paid by a person or group, often secretly or dishonestly. Example 1. He said some officers were in the pay of the gangs. Example 2. They think the workers are in the pay of the company. Repeat after me. In the pay of. LinguaWire isn't only a podcast. Every day, the lead story becomes a personal language lesson in your classroom. Each lesson covers reading, vocabulary, grammar, writing, and listening, all built from today's real news story. Start today on linguawire.com.